What is going on, guys? It's Yoji. You wanted to know what I will be playing for 2.3 and Prophecy League, so I had a look at all the Ascendancy classes that have been newly changed and buffed, and I found the Pathfinder to be really cool. So I will be playing a crit physical bow Pathfinder in Prophecy League. And as Pathfinders are very Flask-centric, I got myself some Flasks. Flasks are extremely powerful right now in Path of Exile, and the Pathfinder allows you to even amplify those effects. On top of that, with most of the build's power coming from Flasks, you don't really need much other gear to be really strong, especially while leveling, and that makes this build perfect for starting out in a new league. But at the same time, once you get those really strong endgame Flasks, such as Taste of Hate, Aziri's Promise or Vessel of Winter, you scale extremely well into late game as well. So without further ado, let's get started. Pathfinder only has amazing nodes. Seriously, every single node on that subclass is crazy good. Even the small ones. In normal, as I'm playing a physical damage build, I will be picking up Master Herbalist, 20% increased poison damage and duration, 30% chaos resistance on every flask, and always poisoning enemies on hit during flask effect. This will be a fantastic damage boost for the whole leveling process, especially for single target. And in endgame this will be huge. Once we acquire an Aziri's Promise flask to add a ton of chaos damage to our attacks, which of course will also add to the poison. After that, the choices already become very difficult due to how good all the options are. Nature's Adrenaline is great with its 20% attack speed and 15% movement speed on every flask. With a Quicksilver flask of Adrenaline and our flask boosting nodes, this can result in up to 102% increased movement speed. Master Surgeon frees us from the need of having a bleed removal flask by adding bleed removal to every flask we have. Increased life recovery from flasks is actually pretty great to have as well, but the winner here is giving all our flasks a 10% chance to recharge on critical strike. Great for prolonged boss fights, but also for permanent flask uptime while clearing. Especially once you pop a diamond flask, you will pretty much crit all the time. Lastly, I will take Nature's Boon for 8% reduced elemental damage taken, which at 75% all res translates to an equivalent of 2% to maximum resistance. Passively gaining flask charges doesn't hurt, but I would not rate it too highly either. Randomly not using up any charges of a flask when using it can save your ass in a tough situation when you panic flasks just a bit too much. There are definitely very good reasons to take the other two passives though. Master Alchemist is a fantastic node. Increasing elemental damage as well as making all your flasks grant immunity to all elemental status ailments is huge. Not having to ever worry about freeze or shock is crazy good, especially when using Vessel of Winter for example. Veteran Boyar adds a lot of damage to both physical and elemental builds and allows to gain crazy amounts of flask charges while clearing maps. I think it might just lose out to Master Surgeon, mainly because of the single target aspect, and one could use both together, but I think that would be overkill. I will however play around with several of the options available on the Pathfinder Ascendancy class, and once my full build guide comes out, I will share my opinions with you. The build will be a pretty standard bow ranger. I'll use Shrapnel Shot for early leveling. It will be linked with added lightning and added fire in Act 1 if I happen to get the links for it. Physical projectile damage from Act 2 can be linked to it as well, or replace one of the other gems depending on what will give you higher damage and which colors of sockets you have available too. Once I get Chain in Act 4, I will switch to Split Arrow, using Chain, physical projectile attack damage and added fire. Once we got some crit, we can also use increased critical strikes in a 5-link. For single target, Blast Rain does a great job throughout the whole leveling process and in endgame. After receiving the skill in Act 3, we'll link it with physical projectile attack damage and concentrated effect from Act 2, as well as weapon elemental damage, also known as WID. Later, Blast Rain will also be linked with increased critical strikes. Herald of Thunder, Ice and Ash can all be used starting in Act 2 to add to our damage. If you don't have the intelligence to use them yet, try equipping a Lapis Amulet to boost your brain power a little bit. In Act 3, Hatred becomes available, which can replace 2 Heralds. You can also use Poacher's Mark supported by Blasphemy instead of a Herald for life and mana gain on hit, as well as flask charges gained and a higher chance to hit. Oh, and frenzy charges of course. It is a fantastic curse to have on Blasphemy for leveling. In endgame, I will most likely stick to Hatred and a Herald of Thunder curse on hit setup and gain my frenzy charges from Blood Rage. Passive trees for leveling and more information can be found in the video description below. For those who want to try a Pathfinder themselves in Prophecy League, subscribe for more Path of Exile content. I am Yoji, and I will see you soon.